Alright, here's our Chapter 12 review, starting with Section A, and I'm recording this on an old computer, and audio's not very good, so I may sound like Batman a few times. Let's see, without a calculator, we're evaluating these limits. With limits, your first approach is always to simply plug in your value of x and hope it works. So I'm going to start by simply plugging in -2. And number one is actually going to be very nice because I can plug in -2 cubed plus 1 all squared. -2 cubed is -8 plus 1 all squared. That's -7 squared, which is 49. So that would be your answer to number 1. Number 2 very quickly gets more difficult. If you try plugging in 1 squared minus 1 is 0. 1 cubed minus 1 is also 0. So this is one where you want to factor and cancel or do something like that. And this one does factor. Now this one I'm being kind of mean because nobody ever remembers how to factor a cube. But we need to put it here at the top, not to that difference of squares. X plus 1, x minus 1. On bottom, I am subtracting 2 cubes, x cubed minus 1 cubed. And the formula for a difference of cubes is this. It's a minus b, a squared. You change the sign. The first sign is always the same, so I kept it minus. My second sign is opposite. Then ab, and the last one is always positive, b squared. So this is how this thing's going to factor where my a is x and my b is 1. So this is going to factor to x minus 1 times a squared, which will be x squared plus x times 1 plus b squared, which is 1 squared. Then we can cancel. X minus 1 is cancel, leaving me with only x plus 1 and x squared plus x plus 1. And now I can plug in 1 again. So I'll take plus 1, I'm going to plug it in down here. And you'll get 1 plus 1, which is 2, over 1 squared plus 1 plus 1, which is 3. And there's your answer to number 2. Number 3. Again, even though this is a one-sided limit, you always start by simply plugging in your x value. So this is approaching -3, and -3 squared is 9, minus 9 is 0, -3 plus 3 is 0, and 0, 0 means we need to factor. So I'm going to factor my top, which is x plus 3, x minus 3. Factor my bottom, x plus 3. And I can cancel. My x plus 3 is leaving me with only the x minus 3. And now when I plug in my -3 for x, -3 minus 3 is -6. So once you get to where you can plug in your number without getting a 0 in the denominator, then plug it in and there's your answer. Let's try number 4 here. Start by just plugging in. This one is actually going to work. -7 squared plus 2 times -7, that's going to be 49. 2 times -7 is -14. 49 minus 14 is 35. That's a nice problem. If you can, just plug it. Second one, ooh, this one's bad. I'm trying to decide, should I plug in? If you plug in, you will get 0 over 0. If you don't believe me, you can do it. I will need to factor this. Now, in this one, the bottom one is the easier part to factor. My bottom simply factors x plus 2, x minus 2. My top, this is a blast from the past, but there's 4 terms. We have to factor this by grouping. So I'll group the first 2 sets and the second 2 terms, the first 2 terms and second 2 terms. Then I will factor out of my first group an x squared, which leaves me with x plus 2. Out of my second term, I can't factor anything. So I just have an x plus 2. And then notice they have an x plus 2 in common. They have x squared times x plus 2. And there's a hidden 1, but it is 1 times x plus 2. And I can factor out the x plus 2's, which leaves me with x plus 2 times, and then in parentheses, x squared. That's what was left out of this first term, plus 1 out of that second term. All of that will be over x plus 2, x minus 2. canceled the x plus 2's. And now I'm left with only x squared plus 1 over x minus 2. And then you can finally plug in your negative 2. I'll plug in negative 2 here. Negative 2 squared is 4 plus 1 over negative 2 minus 2, which is 5 over negative 4. And that's your answer. Yeah. Item number 6. Number 6, if you plug in negative 2, you will get 0 over 0, which means we need to factor again. Now this one is back to that pesky cube formula. And if you factor cubes, this time it's a sum of cubes. So the formula for a sum of cubes is, it's a, you keep the first sign the same, then it's a squared, change the sign, a times b, last one is always positive, b squared. Where in this case, a is x, and my b is going to be 2, because 8 is 2 cubed. So when I factor this, x cubed plus 8 will factor to x plus 2. X squared minus 2x plus b squared would be is 2, so 2 squared is 4. My bottom is a difference of squares that factored x plus 2, x minus 2. And I'm doing the limit of this as x approaches negative 2. At this point, I can cancel my x plus 2's. That leaves me with x squared minus 2x plus 4 over x minus 2. And we should be able to plug in negative 2 now. So I'm going to take my negative 2 and I'll plug it in for x. And this equation right here, negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is plus 4, plus another 4, all over negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. It's a lot of 4's. That's 12 over negative 4, which is negative 3. So there's your answer to 6. Are we on time here? 7 minutes. 25. 25. Number 7. X approaches 25. If you plug in 25, you do get 0 over 0. This one has a radical in it, and the way we solve these with radicals is we multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the radical term, which in this case, it's root x minus 5, so the conjugate of that is root x plus 5. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by root x plus 5. And when you multiply out the top, the square root of x times square root of x is simply x. And the outers and inners will cancel, so negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. On bottom, we will not multiply that, so x minus 25 times the root of x plus 5. And my x minus 25 is canceled. Cancel. Leaves a 1 in the numerator. And then I can evaluate that. It's 1 over the square root of 25. So we're going to plug in 25. Square root of 25 plus 5. And square root of 25 plus 5 is 10. So the answer number 7 is 1/10. Number 8, x approaches 3 from the left. Even though it's from the left, you still start by simply plugging in 3. So this is going to be 3 cubed minus 5 times 3, and that actually is going to work out. 3 cubed is 27. 5 times 3 is 15, and 27 minus 15 is 12. There's your answer to number 8. Number 9, same thing. I'm going to start by plugging in. If I plug in 2, you get 15 minus 3 times 2, all to the negative 3 halves. And this is going to work out. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but it's 15 minus 6 to the negative 3 halves. 15 minus 6 is 9 to the negative 3 halves. And let's see. If it's a negative exponent, you can write that as 1 over 9 to the positive 3 halves. Make that exponent positive. And when you have a fraction exponent, I'm going to go into thinking land for a second. A fraction exponent like that, the bottom number is the root. So this is like saying it's the square root of 9 to the 3rd power. That is the same thing as 9 to the 3 halves. So 9 to the 3 halves is the square root of 9, which is 3 cubed. 1 over the square root of 9 is 3, but I still need to cube it. And 3 cubed is 27. So this is going to be 1 over 27. Do the cubed root, or do the root first. So 9 to the 1/2 the square root of 9 is 3, and I still have that third power to deal with after the square root of 9. So there you go with part A of this review. Hopefully I didn't sound like Batman too much.